Welcome to Dmac Mad Gaming. I'm your host, Dmac, and we believe gaming is a lifestyle, not a hobby. Today we're going to talk about Microsoft's E3 press conference. I got to say one thing about Microsoft. They tried to bring their A game this E3, but they fell short of their goals because they did not show any new IPs that they needed. But they did announce a new hardware, the Xbox One X. That's right, people. So it's not called the Xbox Scorpio anymore, even though that's a better name. It's called the Xbox One X, and you'll be able to get your hands on it November 7th for $499. I know a lot of people saying $500 for this console, but this console is worth it. It's a beast of a console. You can play games in 4K resolution. It runs games better, even shows the difference in an HD TV that you have at home right now. And I really feel like that is a point seller, but it's not a great point seller. But also, this hardware can run games at 60 frames per second, but Microsoft don't have any exclusive games to show off the capability of their hardware, and that's what's hurting them in the end. That's why this E3 was so important for them to bring out games, and some exclusive games, and some new IPs to show the power of this hardware. Because a lot of people have been talking about on social media how Destiny 2 could run at 60 frames per second on their hardware, but Bungie decided to make it run at 30 frames per second for the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Phil Spencer did an interview, and they asked him this question, and he explained to them his thoughts about it, and I'm going to show that in this video today and tell you my thoughts about what Phil Spencer is saying. So let's get started. Let's do it. Let's go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Microsoft's games they showed at E3 this year. They showed about 42 games. It was about, out of all 42 games, they showed some third-party games, some indie games, and a couple of AAA games that we already know about since the beginning of this year. And that's Sea of Thieves. And they also show Sea of Thieves last E3 as well. They also show State of Decay. They show some more gameplay with State of Decay. State of Decay looks really good. I've never played State of Decay before, but State of Decay 2 looks really good, and I was really interested in trying it out this year because it looks amazing, and it has it looks like it has a good co-op feel to it that was kind of interesting to me. But I'm really interested in Forza 7. Forza 7 looks amazing. They improved on the environmental, the environment and weather. They added more cars, 700 more cars that you can choose from, some more roads and roads you can drive on, things like that. And I really feel like they've really been working hard, and Forza knows how to show the power of Xbox graphics. And now that we have the Xbox One X, a lot of people are wondering, will Forza 7 run at 60 frames per second? Will Crackdown 3 run at 60 frames per second? Will State of Decay 2 run at 60 frames per second? This is something that Microsoft did not talk about through E3 so much. They showed us the games. They didn't talk about 60 frames per second a lot at E3, and I thought that was the thing that they needed to do the most, to let people know that this hardware will play your games at 60 frames per second. Now, maybe they didn't talk about it because it ain't going to be able to run every game at 60 frames per second. But that was a really key point they could have used at this E3 to hold over Sony. I really feel like they missed the mark here. I feel like they did not really think about what they were doing. And Phil Spencer said in his interview they've been working on it since December. So they had all this time and all these lineup games to choose from. But they did not market it right, I feel like. They needed to market it right. And Phil Spencer said he's trying to have a more diverse catalog. He have more international games from every part of the world. I really respect that Phil Spencer is trying to bring in more third-party developers over to his platform. And I think that was important. Because we know since the original Xbox One, we know Xbox to be first parties and indie games and some third-party games. He's trying to bring more third-party games over to the platform to show the capability of the Xbox One X. And Phil Spencer also said in some interviews that he wants third-party games to look better on the Xbox One X. That is a great opportunity that Phil Spencer sees, because if he can have third-party developers show the power of this hardware, it will get people to want to buy this hardware. It will get people to rationalize the reason for them to go out there and spend $500 on our dedicated console. And that's the marketing approach he needs to take since he released information about the Xbox One X. I really don't know about that name. I mean, he could have kept Xbox Scorpio. It was much better. It rolled off the tongue. Xbox One X just sounds weird in my mouth. Who knows why Phil Spencer let them come up with that name. But he said that the team has been working on this hardware for a long time. And it's their baby. And this is the name they wanted to name it. And it looks great. It looks like it's a really pretty, sleek console that can fit in your entertainment center. And that's really important for people that have more than one console like myself. But I really feel like Microsoft needed to have more third-party games look better on the Xbox One X, and that's what Phil Spencer is trying to do. He couldn't bring in the first-party AAAs or any new IPs this E3, so he's focusing on bringing more third-party developers over to his platform and to run better on his platform. All Microsoft needs to do is go to third-party developers and here we're going to shook out some extra money. We want you to make sure that we have this run at 60 frames per second and make sure 1080p resolution works on all third-party games on that platform. If Microsoft decides to do this, they're going to change the hardware war drastically. It's going to be able for them to make the Xbox One X penetrate the hardware department and get more of their hardware into people's homes. That's Microsoft option they have right now, and it's a great opportunity for them. And I think Microsoft Phil Spencer understands this, and this is why he's leaning towards it. He didn't talk too much about it at E3 because I guess he's trying to keep some surprises in store for us because we know E3 has lost its magic. E3 has not been E3 in a long time. I mean, Sony's press conference was a snore fest because it was just showing me the same shit I seen last E3. But Microsoft changed it up, brought the game, tried their best. They still fell short in some departments, but I feel like overall it was a good E3 press conference for Microsoft. And I feel like Phil Spencer has really thought about the direction you want to take this, and he's really trying to get more third-party developers over to make it look better on their hardware. This is a great sales approach that he's thinking about as far as his premium console. And I think he's doing a great job at it. So now let's talk about what Phil Spencer talked about in his interview about Destiny 2. Let's do it. So the last thing I want to talk about is what Phil Spencer said in the interview at GameSpot about his thoughts about Destiny 2 and the frame rates and what he think about the developers and making deals with certain platforms like PlayStation 4 Pro, Nintendo, about deals that they make with these developers and making sure that the developers don't let other platforms show their capabilities because it will hurt their indirectly. So Phil Spencer has something to say about that, so we're going to go ahead and check that out real quick, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on what he said and how I feel about his statement. Here we go.
You kind of balance that with games that have deals. For example, let's look at Destiny 2. It was announced that it's going to run at 30 frames per second on Xbox One X. And that is a game that you can, according to the technical specifications, be run on Xbox One X at 60 frames per second. But then, obviously, they're in a situation where they can't have it run better on the Xbox than on the PS4 because they have a deal with Sony. Like, are you going around and encouraging people to kind of make that jump and, really take... How do you balance that when you've got multi-platform games that all have some allegiance to another platform and can't look better on one than the other?
I'm going to struggle to not get myself in trouble on this one. You mentioned earlier my developer background. Like, I started at Microsoft as a programmer. I've been around game development since the launch of the original Xbox. I'll just say, I'll say it. I don't know anything about other development deals. So you mentioned some things around clauses and stuff that I don't know anything about. But if anybody was to do a deal to hold back technical innovation on a video game anywhere else, that doesn't feel good for the industry to me. Right? Sure. That's I've said I'm not one who's a fan of going out and doing deals so that a certain skin isn't playable on a different platform or a different strike. And people will come and say, hey, you guys did that first with Call of Duty way back in the day. I wasn't in this position when that happened. That's not me ducking responsibility for it, but I didn't make that call. But the deals that we do now, and you saw our third-party relationships on stage with Shadow of War, with Assassins, you're not going to hear them say anything about, hey, a certain character that's not playable. Right. And I'd never go into a situation where I said you can't do something that's possible on another platform in order to benefit. I don't think that's... I haven't seen those deals. If that started to happen in the industry, I don't think that's a great thing. I don't know that it has happened. So I know right now the technical capability on Xbox One X is beyond... Like, I look at Pro, Slim, S is kind of in one category, and then you've got a box, as you said, that can natively do a lot more. Whether developers choose to use the horsepower for frame rate, resolution, or just techniques within the frame is up to them. Like, I'm not going to dictate. I've heard this, like, hey, you should force all games to be 60 or something. I've never thought forcing the creative process is a great way to get great games.
I guess it's clear that the Xbox One X is the more powerful console but the worry amongst the community now is we're in a situation where you have this exponentially more powerful hardware than the competitor, but they're both kind of bottlenecking each other. So there's the situation where will we ever get to see what that console can do in its entirety? I think that's something that people are kind of afraid of.
For multi-platform games.
For multi-platform games. And in that case, it leaves it to you guys to show what it can do with first-party games.
Which we will. I'll say I was listening to my friend Jesse from ARC, did an interview this week where he just talked about the capability of Xbox One X and what was possible on the Pro. And I think the PS4 Pro is a nice console. I think it's a console that's just at a different price point and different capability than Xbox One X. So I was gonna say Scorpio, but I don't kind of link them together. I agree with you that it's our job as an industry to showcase what hardware can do, whether it's in the PC space, whether it's in the console space. I'm really happy with the reaction. We talked about over 30 games from third parties that are going to get updates for Xbox One X. We got to show Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Ghost Recon, Rocket League. So teams doing some really interesting things. I think from load times, from resolution to stable frame rates, just because of the increased CPU, GPU, memory bandwidth capability of the box, I'm very confident that the games are going to show best on Xbox One X.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a powerful statement. I really feel like Phil Spencer was being honest there, being a developer in his background, being a consumer and a person that loves gaming as much as the rest of us do. I feel like he was being totally honest there, and I do agree with him. Anyone that tries to hinder the technical innovations of any platform is wrong. It does not feel right. It's gonna hurt the gaming industry as a whole. And I really respect that man for feeling like this and making that statement, because we all know that's what everyone's thinking about. What Phil Spencer had to say about this. And Phil Spencer said directly in his interview that anyone that does this to hinder the innovation of any platform, it feels wrong. It is wrong. It shouldn't be done. We should be out there trying to hurt other platforms because we're trying to be the best. He has total confidence in his hardware, where his hardware will show his capability. And he's working on first-party developed games where people will see the power and capability of the Xbox One X. And he's so confident that even with third-party games, it will still look better on an Xbox One X because it's so powerful. It's one of the most powerful consoles they ever made. And that's how Microsoft have always did things. And I really respect Phil Spencer for taking the time to answer that question, because that's what a lot of us wondering. And as you see in this interview, he also said that Forza 7 and other games will be running at 60 frames per second. He already knows what this console will be able to do, and he already knows how third-party games are going to run. So just imagine, he didn't say this at the E3 press conference because he was trying to hold some stuff back. But think about this. Some of the first-party games that they got coming out with the Xbox One X on November 7th, like Crackdown 3, Forza 7, they'll be running at 60 frames per second. They will look better on HD TVs if you don't even have a 4K TV. This is the power of his console. This is the power that he has under the hood of the Xbox One X. He is so confident that he doesn't really care about developers making exclusive deals with certain platforms so that their hardware can look good. He doesn't care that Destiny 2 is going to run at 30 frames per second on his hardware. His hardware is still going to make that game look impressive. His hardware is still going to make that game look amazing. Now, what I would hope Phil Spencer would do, but I don't know if he's going to do it with that statement he made, he could go to a bunch and say, here, we want you to put a mode for every third-party game that we bring over to our platform where it can't run at 60 frames per second. That's what a lot of gamers were hoping he was going to say in this interview, but he did not say that. He said that he's not paying any extra money to limitate any other platform from showing their capabilities. That's not how this business works. That's not how this business has grown, by hindering other platforms, by trying to sabotage other platforms. And I really feel like Phil Spencer has total confidence in his hardware. And that's why I feel he got a direction he's going with this premium console. And that's why I feel like Microsoft, even though they fell short of certain goals in the E3 press conference, this interview let us know right here that the Xbox One X is going to show us some great things. And it's going to show us the reason why Microsoft is saying this is the most powerful console they ever made. And it's the most powerful console that will be out in the market November 7, 2017. Thank you guys for staying to the end of the video. I hope you liked that interview with Phil Spencer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you feel like Phil Spencer's doing the right thing by not trying to make deals on the side himself? Do you feel like Microsoft is so confident about their hardware that there's no need to worry? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. My name is Dmac. Thank you for watching Dmac Mad Gaming. If you like content like this, make sure you hit that like button to support the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. My name is Dmac, and you've been watching Dmac's Mad Gaming. I'm out.